Finance New Orleans Board of Trustees meeting roll call. Chair Edgar Chase Forrest.
Present.
Vice Chair Andronica Morris.
Present.
Secretary Treasurer G. Wade Wooten.
Present.
Board Member Giselle Johnson Banks. Board Member Charles H. Brown. Board Member Stephen Smith. Board Member Hunter Thomas.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you, and thank you all for joining the January 24th Finance Authority meeting. We're going to move forward. Seeing that there's no old business, we're going to start with our consent agenda items, which is approval of the December 2021 board meeting minutes. If everybody had a chance to review, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Seconded by Wade.
It's been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting minutes have been approved. We're going to move on to the new business. We have none. Next will be our presentation and discussion of the Finance and Investment Committee meeting reports.
Give me a second. I'll set up. So, Naj, if you can move to, looks like maybe the market update on pages 5 and 6, please. That's it. Okay, thank you. Starting as we always do with the global view, again, no surprise, there remains a lot of uncertainty in the markets as we continue to see concerns worldwide with regard to inflation due to Omicron, and what the impact will be not just on the U.S. economy, but economies throughout the world. Hard to miss the recent 7.7% CPI increase, which is a sober reminder that inflation is a key driver and risk for the year ahead. And it's definitely impacting the Federal Reserve policy, consumer spending, and bond yields. There is some market expectation that inflation pressures may peak, hopefully in the coming months, and start leveling off somewhat in the second half of the year. But that timing will depend on what happens with the Omicron variant, which at the moment is worsening the supply chain issues. Despite the expected cool off in overall inflation, service inflation is likely to stay strong, supported by home price and rent increases and rising wages. The Fed has started the year with another pivot, which is to directly take on inflation. The number of Fed officials are now calling for policy rates to rise as early as this March, so soon. This is a change from the recently projected no interest rate hikes until 2023. Shifting to the rates, bond rates increased during the month given the hawkish tone from the Fed. The U.S. 10-year Treasury yield increased by 21 basis points to 1.71% month over month. And then the municipal years AAA MMD rated increased also across the yield curve, sorry. And then mortgage rates also increased, tracking the 10-year Treasury, no surprise. Locally, the unemployment rate in New Orleans Parish was 6.2 in November 2020, down from 6.5 the prior month, and down by 50%, down from 12.1% from November 2020. So that's a positive trend. Shifting to page 7, the financial status report as of December 2021 year to date. So again, this page here provides a comprehensive view of our year-to-date revenues and expenses. So what you'll see is overall revenues on the revenue side, year-to-date, $266,000 versus a budget of $402,000. So again, significantly below budget. The shortfall is driven primarily by multifamily income. We expect to close on 2 of the 4 recently approved pilot projects, but only 1 closed. The closed project was the H3C Brown's Dairy, which generated approximately $125,000 in revenue during the month of December. On the expense side, we were favorable to budget by $302,000 year to date, with actual year to date expenses of $1.9 million versus the budgeted of $2.2 million. So it looks like the expenses actually were by and large, more than offset the decrease in revenues. That's a good trend. Page 8, please. So this page provides a 13 months trend of our revenues and expenses. Both revenues and expenses, as you can see, increased above average during the month. The revenue increase was driven by the revenue received from the closed pilot program. The expense increase was a result of paying end-of-year contracts, invoices, which are mainly consulting and professional services. On to the next page, page 9, please. So let's see. The balance sheet year-on-year comparison, again, balance sheet compositions essentially consistent. There's really nothing material to report in this respect. Page 10, please. It's a snapshot of pathways, revenues and expenses. Total revenues of $2.5 thousand year to date and expenses of $42,000. Turning to page 11, which is cash and cash equivalents at the month's end. Cash and cash equivalents were $9.5 million at December month's end. This is relatively unchanged from the prior months, driven by the pilot revenue received during the month. And that completes the finance investment report. Byron, is there anything else above and beyond this which you'd like to add?
Yeah, no, Wade, I think you covered everything. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Byron. I yield the floor back to the chair, please.
Thank you, Board Member Wooten. If there are no further questions or any discussion on the Finance and Investment Committee report, we can move on to the Programs Committee report.
All right, does not seem like we have any questions. So hold on, let me turn on my video. So good afternoon, everybody. Program Committee report is, we met last week. We did not have quorum, so we had a meeting just for information. We were not able to vote on our minutes or anything like that. That's why we weren't able to incorporate them today. So we hopefully will be able to pull the group together next month and have those conversations. And we had a good committee meeting, despite that, hearing about where the staff is on their next steps. As you heard in the finance committee, the impact on the finance committee, there's been some closings, which is really great. We're excited to see these moving forward. And I'm going to get to that later, but I just want to do the highlights is that there was no payments in December in our community support fund. Own New Orleans has been decommissioned. The Green Mortgage Program, we had 1 origination in December and 1 that's scheduled to close. These originations are actually what I like to call the Green Mortgage STEP program. That's not the official name, but it's still not what we think of as the Green Mortgage product, where someone has been able to affect and weatherize and make their home energy efficient with using Finance New Orleans as financing. That's available for them under these programs. And the staff are actually, they have, with these closings, these borrowers are going to get surveys so that they can look at and access to resources so that they can look at what it would take to make their homes energy efficient, but they're not there quite yet. The program is ready to go, and the Green Mortgage Program is ready to go, and it's actually been There's going to be an intensification of the marketing and outreach that's happening. I know that a lot of the community partners, particularly those inside the Energy Futures New Orleans group and the Energy Efficiency for All consortium, as well as the affordable housing advocates and community leaders, are anxiously awaiting this program, as we've learned over the last few years that making homes energy efficient is going to be one of the easiest ways to make them more affordable, as well as addressing our long-term issues around climate change. So Finance New Orleans is this program is it's just what the doctor ordered for this market. So one of the things that we did talk about is, again, the number of projects that are in the pipeline. We had, and you heard in the finance piece, the impact of some of the closings. We got we realized the financial windfall of that, and we've got 3 projects slated to close in first quarter of 2022. So we'll be hearing more about that. And there are 18 active projects that are on the pipeline. 3 of them, the 3 are pending to close. 4 are relatively new that are pre-screening. 7 where they've gotten the developers are working on a full application. 2 where we have received full applications, and we should start seeing those at the program committee meeting. We expect to see the board, the program committee expects to meet with the developers or hear from the developers in the February meetings for those 2 projects. 4528 Forest Street and Barone Villas. And I think these are both the same developer. We've actually met these developers before. We're going to see more about the projects, hopefully with the notion of hearing the next step and then recommending that they move on to full board in the next few months. And then there's an account in underwriting, Our Lady of Lourdes. And so this is going to be a pilot and a bond request. And so that is something that, we want to make sure that the program committee sees. So there are 2 that we're going to see in February. It's Our Lady of Lourdes and it is Barone Villas that we're going to see those developers. We've already seen the developers at Forest Street at the program committee. And again, we're trying to keep to the standard that the programs committee will review them for final approval a full month before they come to the full board. So program committee is going to see them twice before they come to the full board, because these closings are incredibly complicated. The program committee wants to make sure that we have adequate time to review them, that we're not just rubber stamping them, that we can ask intelligent questions so that when they come to the full board, and frankly, we can discuss them here as well, right? So we can report out to the full board during this part of the board meeting in case any of you have questions that you want to ask about those projects. And so that is it for program committee. And I will turn it back over. Unless we have any questions, I'll yield the floor back to Chair Chase.
Thank you, Vice Chair Morris. If they have not hearing any questions on the program committee meeting reports, we'll move on to the executive management reports.
Good afternoon, board members and community. Happy New Year as well. I'm happy to report on, or do the first report of our second year of our 10-year strategic plan. The first year, I think, went very successfully. We started to get some momentum. We got some programs off the ground. We started to get organized internally as a team, and just overall as an organization. You can see our board meetings run a lot more efficiently. And that's just because we've been doing a lot of communication with the board at the board level and the staff level. So I think overall as an organization, we're moving in the right direction. What I'd like to do today is point out what our focus is going to be for 2022, and then get into what are some keys to success for 2022 and beyond. And this is based on the learnings that have come to us over the last few years, just understanding what is required in order for this agency to work at full or optimal capacity. as it relates to 2022, we're still focused on getting the strategic plan out and the Resilient New Orleans finance plan. We've started to tease it with the community, but we've yet to do an official marketing launch, if you will. So we're going to do a lot more engagement at during the early part of this year as it relates to pushing the strategic plan, in-person meetings, as well as over social media, city council other types of community meetings, and in-person strategies. And our Resilient New Orleans finance plan goes hand in hand because our strategic plan is based on that Resilient New Orleans finance plan. So the staff is going to be spending a lot of time promoting this information to the community and key stakeholders. We're still focused on raising 100 million, what we estimate to be about 100 million, to jumpstart our green business model. In order to create that $1 billion impact by 2030, we need about $100 million of internal capital to jumpstart our programs. We don't need it all at once, but over time, we think we'll need about that amount in order to get to where we want to be financially, from a financial sustainability and impact standpoint. So that 100 million includes the social impact bonds we've been looking at, the National Green Bank funding we've been looking for, the foundations that we've been reaching out to. The city has some capital that could possibly benefit us, as well as on a state level. So we're going to do as much as we can to fill up that $100 million bucket. And we've already got some momentum going with in terms of some asks. So we hope to have some responses early this year and to have some final answers about whether or not we'll get our first round of funding in that will allow us to be more aggressive as it relates to marketing, staffing, the technology that we need in order to reach our goals. Also, we're going to formally announce the Green Mortgage Program. You heard Board Member Morris talk a moment ago about the program that's out now and how it's essentially an entry-level product to what we think is the full or premium green mortgage product. And that means somebody putting stormwater features on their home, solar panels, new roof, new windows, making internal improvements, whatever they need to make the home more valuable, more comfortable. We're trying to provide that through this Green Mortgage Program. So again, we're going to hit the street. We're going to hit the community meetings. We're going to talk to the realtors out there. We're going to talk to the trade associations, the local industry groups that we have in getting them involved in the Green Mortgage Program. Our Sustainable Developer Program has gotten some good momentum. We've closed a few deals at the end of last year. We have some deals that'll be closing at the beginning of this year. So we got the basics down. Now it's time for us to expand what that program can do, meaning do more bond issues, meaning finance green infrastructure that goes around these projects that may not fit into the traditional finance model, may not fit into the bonds that we do for the housing side. So there's a lot of innovation that's still available on that Sustainable Developer Program, and that's where the team is going to be focused. Also, we have our infrastructure and innovation programs, which round out our new green business model. And we have a pipeline of projects that we're working on demonstrating or piloting. And we hope to, we will bring you some first steps over the next couple of months as it relates to getting these projects and programs off the ground. So we're really excited about getting some innovative ideas out that are more on the infrastructure or commercial side that complement the housing work that we have always done. But the new housing investments that we're making alongside sustainability and sustainable infrastructure, these programs or these projects from infrastructure and innovation will help complement that. And lastly, we're working on executing and the continued development of our technology roadmap. There are a series of technology applications that we like to build into our overall technology stack and that we think would help us operate more efficiently from an internal perspective, and even from a board communication, outreach to the community, outreach to other stakeholders. There are all types of ideas that we're considering. Right now, we're focused on the basics, the physical technology that we'll need at our home office, the enterprise technology that we need, the accounting software that we need. It's a long list of things that we're working on, but the team is going to stay focused on that throughout 2022. Next slide. And here are what we think are some keys to success for 2022 and beyond. And point one is community-driven innovation, program development, and marketing. This all has to start with the community. Even our current vision is a combination of ideas from community partners, directly from people on the ground, homeowners. We must continue as an agency to listen to the community and develop our strategies based on what the needs are, what the urgencies are. But at the same time, we have to think about things that the community may not know they need yet. So it's a balance, but it does all start with listening to the community. Also, we have to continue getting talented and committed internal staff. We've been able to build up a good core group of people on the staff right now, and we're trying to operate at full capacity. There's still some gaps that we want to fill along the way, and we'll continue to add talented people, committed people. We're looking for individuals with integrity that believe in what Finance New Orleans is trying to accomplish and believe in the potential of New Orleans and just care about it overall. So we're always going to be on the look for that internal staff, because that's who drives this. That's who gets up every day and lives with the ups and downs of Finance New Orleans. Also, continue local, state, and federal government cooperation. The CEA for the Sustainable Developer Program is an example of local government cooperation, local and state, cooperation. We got to continue that type of work and investment in building those relationships and making sure that Finance New Orleans is always known to be focused on the community's key issues and to be solution oriented. So we want to cut through, all of the other issues that sometimes prevent agencies from accomplishing goals or making a real impact. So that means positioning ourselves as a serious organization who's known for executing, known for getting things done and creating an impact in the community. Pipeline development and management. You saw a pipeline for the Sustainable Developer Program. We have a pipeline for the infrastructure and innovation programs. We're going to start building a bigger pipeline for the Green Mortgage Program or the home ownership side. So the name of the game as it relates to us as a financing agency or institution, we got to have a pipeline of projects always ready to go and always being executed and always being managed. So that's the bloodline of our operations. So it must be strategically at the forefront whenever we make these types of plans. So when it's time for the new plan in 2030, pipeline development and management should still be on the list. Disciplined business administration and transparency. That's just about how we manage the day-to-day of the agency. There are lots of regulatory requirements, there are local government requirements, state government requirements, even federal government requirements that we just got to stay on top of. So it's a matter of having the talented people in-house, and it's also just a matter of being disciplined and checking all the boxes every day, taking care of everything that needs to be taken care of so that we can be in good standing as an organization. We cannot ever overlook that element, because that's what underlies everything. That's what allows us to go out and be innovative. We got to keep the best consultants and service providers at our side. These are extensions of our talented internal team. We have limits to how many people and the resources that we have on the internal side. So we have to depend on the best lawyers, the best financial advisors, underwriters, commercial banks. Now we're dealing with technology companies, other types of contractors. So we spend quite a bit of time managing that network of service providers, and we're looking for the best ones that can help us execute and believe in our strategy. Also, we must invest primarily in projects that lead to financial sustainability. I know that may sound pretty straightforward, but on the public finance side, oftentimes there are investments that are made that may not provide a direct financial return. But even in those situations, we have to look at ways where we're creating impact, but it's also creating financial sustainability for the organization so that we can be around for the long term in order to continue to reinvest and create the impact. And connected to that point is having strong capital markets relationships. We have our financial advisors, we have our banks, but we also got to have our own personal relationships with the different investors that are out there, the community investors. So that's why we're doing things like the investor event we had in December. We're preparing to host a big investor event in April, and we're going to send them communications throughout the year. We also have a new investor relations platform that we've invested in on the technology side. You'll learn more about these things in the next few months, but it's very important that we keep those capital market ties and that we have people internally, and we're not completely dependent on our consultants, although they're great and they help us. We have to be owners of these relationships and ideas as well. And then lastly is leveraging the technology. to make all of this stuff go together, so that we can be a leading, cutting edge authority, agency, organization. Regardless of government or private, we're a little bit of both, but we can lead from the front. Technology is going to be a big part of that. We don't have to necessarily go out and invest all of our free resources into technology, but we must be thoughtful about which technologies we use and how we integrate them into our system and how they make us better. So there are other things that we got to focus on, but these are the top issues that come to mind that we need to be considerate of, not just this year, but every year moving forward. And I think if we do this religiously, we'll be successful in reaching that $1 billion impact we want to create in the city, and even more. So I just wanted to give the board and the community an idea of where we're focusing our time internally, and where are the things that you should be holding us accountable for on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis. And this is it. Are there any questions from the board? If not, that's it for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon, Executive Director Damon Burns. Moving on, there's no executive session, no other business. Is there any public comment?
No public comments at this time.
No public comment at this time. So before we adjourn, I just wanted to reiterate Happy New Year to everyone, but I also want to say how excited I am and what your team has accomplished over that last year, Damon. And as I've been on this board, I've been able to witness each step take place, right? I've been able to planning and the strategic thinking of implementing the green project, the green mortgage, the sustainable pipeline, developer pipeline. I've been able to witness in the latter part of 2020 as we got the ball rolling on those and started implementing some of those projects. And now we've closed a few in the sustainable development pipeline. And hearing you with that report, we're going to keep pushing that ball a little faster as we look to market the green mortgage project program, really get to those developers and market that to be our lifeblood and keep pushing forward. And the key thing that you said was listening to the community, listen to the needs of what they need now, as far as put on our best thinking glasses and try to project or forward think what may be the need in the future. So I'm excited of what your team is looking to accomplish in this year and looking forward to continue to push it forward. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Thank you, Chair Chase.
I'll second that and agree with Chair Chase. It's an exciting time, and yeah.
Thank you, board members. We're going to keep working hard and try to take another quantum leap this year. So thank you for your support and thank you for pushing us.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right. I think we had the adjournment approval or motion and movement, so we're good to go. Thank you. I'll see you all at the committee reports and the board meeting next month.
Thank you, sir.
All right, everyone.